Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where we'll explore the 5 easiest ways to migrate to Canada. Canada is known for its welcoming immigration policies and high quality of life, making it a popular destination for people from all over the world. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to live in a country where the biggest controversy is whether ketchup should be allowed on poutine? So if you're tired of your own country's drama and ready to embrace a life of maple syrup, healthcare, and passive-aggressive apologies, stick around. We're about to break down the 5 easiest ways to become an honorary Canuck. All right, let's start with the most popular option, the Express Entry program. You create a profile, rack up points based on your skills, and wait for the Canadian government to pick you like a prize in a bureaucratic claw machine. So how do you get those points? Education is key. The more degrees you have, the better. Work experience also matters. The more experience you have in a skilled profession, the more points you get. Oh, and don't forget language skills. You'll need to prove you can communicate in either English or French. Sadly, knowing how to say "air" after every sentence doesn't count as fluency. Age plays a role too, because apparently Canada prefers its immigrants young and spry. Now, every few weeks Canada holds these express entry draws. It's like a lottery, but instead of winning money, you win the chance to apply for permanent residency. Only the highest ranking candidates get invited to apply, which means things can get pretty competitive. So if you're thinking about express entry, make sure your profile is on point. Highlight your skills, polish your language game, and maybe even learn how to play hockey. You never know. It might just be the difference between getting that invitation to apply and staying in your current country. Good luck. Next up, we've got the Provincial Nominee Programs, or PNPs. Each province and territory in Canada gets to handpick immigrants who they think would be a good fit. Each province has its own unique needs and priorities. Some might be looking for engineers, while others might be desperate for nurses or IT specialists. It's all about finding the right people to fill those job vacancies and keep the Canadian economy chugging along. So how do you get nominated by a province? You have to apply directly to the province you're interested in. Each province has its own set of criteria, so you'll need to do your research and figure out which one is the best fit for you. Now, here's the good news. If you get nominated by a province, it's kind of a big deal. It means you've basically got a golden ticket to permanent residency. But don't get too cocky. Even with a provincial nomination, you still have to go through the whole express entry process. Think of it as the final boss battle of Canadian immigration. But hey, at least you'll have a head start on the competition. And who knows, you might even make some new friends along the way. Just don't be surprised if they challenge you to a snowball fight. It's Canada, after all. All right, let's talk about the Canadian Experience Class, or CEC. This program is basically Canada saying, hey, you've already experienced the joys of living in our glorious nation for a year, why not make it permanent? To be eligible for the CEC, you need at least 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada. You also need to meet certain language requirements, but here's the catch. The work experience you gain has to be full-time and in a skilled occupation. So if you're working part-time while you pursue your studies, those hours don't count. But hey, if you can manage to snag a decent job and survive a Canadian winter, the CEC might just be your ticket to permanent residency. It's like Canada is saying, we've seen what you can do and we're impressed. Welcome to the club. Just be prepared to trade in your swimsuit for a parka and your flip-flops for snow boots. Up next, we have the Federal Skilled Worker Program, or FSWP. This program is for those who like to plan ahead. To be eligible for the FSWP, you need a job offer from a Canadian employer. And not just any job offer, it has to be a skilled job. But finding a Canadian employer willing to hire you from overseas, that's like trying to find a polar bear in a bikini. Canadian employers have to prove that they couldn't find a Canadian citizen or permanent resident to fill the position. But hey, if you've got the skills and the determination, it's definitely possible to find a Canadian employer who's willing to take a chance on you. And once you have that job offer, you're well on your way to becoming a permanent resident. Just be prepared to answer a lot of questions about the weather. Canadians love talking about the weather and hockey. And finally, we have the Family Sponsorship Program. If you've got a close relative who's a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, they can sponsor you for immigration. Now, the good news is that family sponsorship is one of the easiest ways to immigrate to Canada. But here's the catch. There are some pretty strict requirements you need to meet. Your sponsor needs to be financially stable and able to support you for a certain period of time. But if you've got a loving and supportive family member in Canada who's willing to sponsor you, this could be the easiest and most heartwarming way to make the Great White North your new home. Welcome to the family. So there you have it, folks. The 5 easiest ways to migrate to Canada. And while the immigration process can be daunting, with a little bit of research, a lot of patience, and maybe a touch of luck, you too can trade in your current citizenship for a life of poutine, hockey, and passive-aggressive apologies. So, what are you waiting for? Start packing your bags, brush up on your Canadian trivia, and get ready to embrace the Great White North. Just promise me you'll try the maple syrup. It's life-changing.